Today we're going to unbox, install, and review this CarpodGo T3 unit. To start things off, let's go over everything that is included in this kit. So we have the device itself here, pretty standard. It is magnetically attachable to this mount here. Now this mount can be used either to go directly to a window, or what you can do with it is you can use this base, and this base can then be adhesively put onto your dash, and then it can suction to this. So if you want to use this with the arm, you can. If you do not want to, they also recommend using this one. Now this one you can mount directly to your dash with double-sided adhesive tape already installed. It does bend to help conform as needed, and then you can mount this to the back of the device itself and use this connector between the two to basically go from your dash just to have it vertical up like that. So you can use that. So those are your mounting abilities for the device itself. Then you have the power adapter, which is just your standard 12-volt adapter. It does come with an on-off button, so it doesn't have to be on all the time. And then it does also have a pass-through for a USB, so you can still charge USB with that. And then it is a Type-C connector on the end, and that plugs into the actual device. There is a converter that is included. It is a Type-C to USB. This can be used for, I think, a couple accessories in this bag we'll go over in a moment. And then it comes with some extra adhesive strips, and then does have a just little manual on how to pair, which is very simple, or at least was very simple for me because I've already done the pairing on this device. And some accessories on how to do some things and how to set up the reversing camera installation. So that is what's in this bag. And here we've unpacked the rest of the accessories, so we have a little bit more room. We have the reversing camera. This does come with a camera, so you can add a reversing camera if you would like. I didn't install it for this one because I already have one in this vehicle that I've installed, but these are not actually too bad to install. It's actually identical to this exact unit. Must be a very standard camera. All you really need to do is plug it into the device to get the video, and then you wire this to your backup light. And then whenever your backup lights come on, the camera gets its power and it sends it out to the display. So you'd have a rear view camera. This is a backup they actually give you in case it goes to a black screen or it flickers. So this is just like a little power filter inverter for the camera in case you need to splice that in. So they include that in case your car's a little bit different. That's mounting hardware for the camera. A user manual, another different one for USB Bluetooth adapter, and that is what I believe this is. USB Bluetooth adapter to auxiliary, so you can plug that in and use it that way if you don't want to just do Bluetooth to Bluetooth. But they say 80% of vehicles are Bluetooth capable, so most people watching this probably have Bluetooth. If not, then this is another option. And then you can also do this, they say, with an FM adapter. But that's everything that's included. Now let's take a look at the device itself. Okay, now that we have the device installed in the vehicle, one thing I would like to reflect on about the installation is it's very easy. That installation of the suction cup is very good. One thing to obviously take note of is make sure that when you do put this in, it is actually resting at the bottom of like your dashboard. It needs to be touching. If it's not, this has a little bit of weight to it, so if you have it up above, it's going to shake and it's going to vibrate and it will be harder to read. I'm not worried about it falling off. The magnet on the back of this that actually, here, I'll just demonstrate it. This is magnetic, so this comes off very easily and it goes back on very easily. So that's nice if you need to take it out, and it'll give you that adjustability of where you need it, but I just make sure it's against your actual dash so it doesn't shake and rattle around. As for its overall size, it doesn't interrupt my view out of the vehicle in a negative way, which is good. If it did and it was too big or it was too bulky, obviously that could be somewhat of a hazard. Now that being said, it is the middle of the day right now. We're currently looking straight south, and it is very, very sunny. I think on camera it's showing up pretty well for you. To my eyes right now, it is 100% readable. It is plenty bright, which is good. One concern with some screened units in some vehicles are they're not bright enough when peak brightness conditions outside are currently happening, and it makes it very hard to read certain screens in vehicles. This one luckily has plenty of brightness, and I'm not having that problem. The other thing to note too about this is if you have your settings set correctly, which I do right now. This is on the daytime mode, so it's very readable. And then at night, this would be really, really bright, but this will automatically switch over to night settings on your phone once it gets to that point. And then this will be kind of a more gray and black map, which will not be as bright in your face. Because again, in the evenings, you will not want this whole thing to be lit up so bright that it's hard for you to drive. That is another nice thing. So it's got the automatic day and night switching, and then it also has dynamic brightness as well. So it does the automatic brightness adjustment based on, you know, the sensors on the back of it, and you can adjust that too. Now, in terms of the actual size of this display, this is a resolution of 1920 by 720, and it has a peak brightness of 700 nits, which again is enough during the day when it is very bright. It does, they say it is 60 FPS, so that would be a 60 hertz refresh rate on the display. That should help it stay smooth and look smooth while you're using the device. In terms of my input on how this actual feels when you use it, I would say it feels fine. I don't think it feels like insanely snappy and fast. It does not feel like a phone, but it does what you want it to do depending on what you're trying to do. So if you're just trying to get around in the menus, once you get into them and you're flipping through them, they feel okay. They don't feel like they're super fast. They don't feel like they're super slow, but they don't feel as snappy as a phone. I think it is acceptable. I know that's one of the things that they highlight. I think it feels fine. I don't think it feels, you know, as good as a phone, but for what it is and what you're trying to do, I think it's acceptable. And so I don't really have any complaints there. It's just not also a highlight, I would say. Now, we're going to go into the actual Android Auto look and feel of things for a second. Now, with this actual display and its aspect ratio, the nice thing I do like about this is depending on the vehicle or Android Auto system and the display it's coming out of, you sometimes get your actual apps to be piled up on each other too much. So right now we're splitting Spotify with Maps, which is probably what you'll do most of the time. It's what I do most of the time, so I can obviously look at my music, control my music, and have selection options there, but I can still use my maps very easily if I need to have guidance. If you don't want to have as much screen showing maps and you want to show more music, you can run it in this mode, which opens up the actual like Spotify side to be essentially half of the display, if not a little bit more, depending on what you're counting for your icons and the maps itself. So you can have it this way, you can run it this way. If you want maps back, press the map button, and you can actually get maps to either be the split view, or you can press it one more time and it'll give you full view of the maps. The nice thing about running full view maps this way is if you're not worried about your music or you're just on a playlist, you can see as much map as you might need, and you're not gonna have any distractions of anything else. And if you're having to look for something closer, you can go full display. Very nice, gives you a good amount of map area. I do really, really like that. And I do like that when you do wanna have your music with it, you don't have to have the sacrifice of losing so much map space. I will show you it on a different device in a moment where it splits them both a little up more, and it sometimes makes the map feel a little bit small, but we'll get to that later on in the video. Now, you have your other options. You can do phone. You can go down here if you select the settings down here. You can use other things that work with the map. So if you want to do like trails off-road, if you do off-roading, if you want to use phone or messages, or if you want to do radar apps, even these. Now this one takes forever to load, so you can look at radar, and you can even do radar. You know, from the actual device, as long as it's compatible with Android Auto. So you just go back in and select what you want, and you can get everything taken care of as you need. Now, the place that I think that this device works best, personally, is a vehicle that's already got Bluetooth. So connecting to the vehicle via Bluetooth, this device is just taking Bluetooth from your phone and basically displaying Android Auto, and then it's basically Bluetoothing to the car for audio. So it's basically your phone splitting your Bluetooth two ways for two separate things. So you can basically see everything up here that your car cannot do if it is not an Android Auto or CarPlay based vehicle through Bluetooth, and it's just simple Bluetooth connectivity. I think that's the best use of this. Now, there are other ways to get this device to work with older vehicles. There's an FM transmitter style, or there's an auxiliary plug-in style. Those would also work really well. So if you basically have an older vehicle you like and you do not want to shell out for a whole head unit that replaces everything in the head unit to get you Android Auto, this is a fantastic drop-in solution that's very quick and can be moved from car to car. So if you have multiple vehicles, or you like older vehicles and you want something that can be moved between vehicles, or you're just looking for the simplest thing at the most affordable rate, this is a very good option for that. The only times I think I could recommend a full head unit system is when you want to get other things with it. Overall, it works quite well. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to jump over to my built-in Android Auto system in this vehicle real quick, just to give you a brief comparison between the two. This is a head unit that I've installed. This vehicle actually had just like a 6 CD changer, and that was it, no Bluetooth. So I actually have already done a full head unit replacement in this vehicle. I'll leave a pop-up if you're interested in that and learning more about what that takes to do. But one thing I will say up front is this is about 3 times more expensive than just doing a drop-in unit like the CarpodGo. So you are definitely going to be spending more money to have a device set up more like this. This can do some other things that it can't do because it also can function as completely other things with other launchers, and I can do all types of stuff with this. But again, it costs way more to do those things. So if you're just using it for Android Auto, I feel like the CarpodGo is going to be a better thing for you if that's what you just really want to do. Another big thing to note, this took me all day to install when I did this swap, and I added the cameras and everything it has with it. I'm not kidding when I say it was an all-day install. The CarPod is, you have 15 minutes, you will be up and running and everything will be fine. So if you want ease of use, that's going to be also a lot better than something like this. The benefits to this, like I said, is the other settings and things like that and the built-in interface for the vehicle. And the other thing I think this gives you a little bit over the CarpodGo is I think it's just a little bit more responsive. I feel like it's a little bit quicker. It helps if I actually click on things and not just miss them completely. But I feel like it's snappier. I don't think it's a million times faster, but I do feel like it overall is just a tiny bit quicker. So overall, again, it's got more hardware behind it, but it costs 3 times as much and it's way harder to install. So if you're looking for ease of use, CarpodGo is the way to do it. When we're in full-size maps on this display, that matches very similarly to the CarpodGo. That being said, the way this splits, actually, let's go back to the menu and let's get the split. This splits things very differently, and I honestly think the CarpodGo does a better job of splitting than this does, though. So I think it shows you your map size and it shows you your music a little bit better on the CarpodGo. This kind of does it in a weird way. Now, this does allow you to go full screen for Spotify. Whenever I click it on the CarPod, it doesn't. But again, it doesn't really need to go full screen. You don't get much benefits. And when you're in full screen maps, they look almost identical to me. So a little bit different. And this is going to be different depending on vehicles you've been in. So if you have bigger screens, I think CarPlay and Android Auto, they fit differently depending on the vehicle. If I was doing this in another vehicle of mine, which would have been an even funnier comparison, I just didn't do it in that vehicle. Android Auto looks hilariously small in the other vehicle. So the CarpodGo would be way better because it cuts it down so you really only have one screen at a time, and I feel like they're arguably this big. So it really depends on the vehicle, but yeah, I just wanted to give this quick comparison so you could see kind of how it looks and feels in comparison to something that is just dedicated to be essentially a receiver for Android Auto and CarPlay instead of something that's a dedicated unit that's built into the vehicle.